All right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is episode number 5, and I am so excited to share a cup of coffee with my buddy Ben Myers here with a little cornerstone coffee break. We're talking about faith, purpose, and leadership. And I am so excited to introduce Ben Myers, director of Arrowhead Bible Camp and Shepherd's Camp. And this is a camp that I've been to a bunch of times. Arrowhead is a gospel-centered ministry that impacts lives, makes disciples through the unforgettable experience of camp. If you have ever been to summer camp, winter camp, even weekend retreats at a camp, you know how life-changing these experiences can be. And what I know about Ben is that he had a summer job at Arrowhead when he was in college, and he never left. Is that true?
Yep, that's the that's the story as it goes.
Man,
Yeah,
nice.
I'll do one thing and then just keep doing it. I'm persistent and bullheaded, I suppose.
Well, I was just up at Arrowhead, I don't know, like 2 months ago, 3 months ago,
Yeah, back in
sometime.
January.
Yeah, okay, January. And I was so grateful to be invited by Ben here to teach on the topic of calling and purpose. That is one of my passions. And the group that I was meeting with, I was so excited that you created this. It is the Leadership in Disability program. And you were doing something at Arrowhead that not many camps are doing, but it's been your niche or your niche. And I'm excited for you to just share a little bit about this new program, LID, Leadership and Disabilities. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, like most camps, we do all the classic camp activities, and we have a schedule that runs in the summertime. But I always tell people, because, as you're right, lots of folks have had camp experiences, and they're usually life changing. But I always tell people, so think of your summer camp experience, and then throw that out the window.
Mm,
And they're like, "Wait, what? Like, how does that work?" And so yeah, we are a camp. We traditionally ran in the summertime with some weekends. And then our disabilities ministry, which has been a part of the camp over the last 64 years,
mm,
started to grow and grow a little more. And we realized that we had something that was unique and special that not a lot of camps are doing. And if they are, maybe not to the scale that we were starting to offer it at. And so our disabilities ministry started to grow and grow and grow. And the cool thing for us is our campers typically aren't school age. They're adults.
mm.
Our average age of our campers is 55.
Wow,
With
okay.
our yeah, with our oldest camper who will be here this summer, she turns 99 years old this year.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a
That's incredible.
the other part of it not being a school age program means our campers can come back year after year after year after year. And so we become this home away from home, this lifelong opportunity for those camp memories, right?
Hmm.
And friendships that so we have campers that have been attending for decades
Wow.
before I was even here. Yeah. And so as we have seen our disabilities ministry grow, so has the opportunity for us. And this is really the biggest part of our ministry, and that's the young adults that serve with us.
Hmm.
It would have been on just a summer basis, but now as we've been expanding, and we this sounds crazy every time I say it, we now offer 36 weeks of our camp program throughout the whole year. So we start
Mm.
second week of January, we go all the way to the week before Christmas.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's because our campers, again, they're not in school, and man, how sad would it be if you had to wait a whole year to
Yeah.
get back to camp?
Now, are there campers that come, I'm assuming, but I just want to know, are there campers that come more than once a week?
Yes, we'll have campers that will come multiple times throughout the year,
Wow,
and
okay.
that's kind of twofold, right? It's the camp experience. It's I'm at camp in the summertime for all the classic camp activities, and then I'm there in the non-summer months when they're doing crazy big crafts and huge events, and like a couple weeks ago we did a life size or live action Candyland.
Oh wow.
And of
Like the
course,
game, the board
like the
game.
game, yeah, except the board game characters were our staff in their respective departments.
Oh.
So our campers get to enjoy that camp experience throughout the year. But maybe even a slightly bigger impact for our
Mm-hmm.
program is the respite it provides for parents and care providers, right? So they're doing what we do on a 5 or 10 day basis all year long.
Wow.
They get to have respite, and they also don't have to wait a whole year to get back to camp. Yeah.
Who was Lord Licorice on your staff?
Uh,
Or I should just ask quick, did you play a character or was it just your staff?
Oh, I did. I did. Everybody around here knows that if I have any opportunity on a daily basis, I will have a burger. As much as I drink coffee, I try to eat cheeseburgers. So I was the Burger King
Oh,
at
okay.
the end of the game.
I would pity anyone who was gloppy.
Well,
It's a sloppy
yeah,
outfit.
we didn't go with personalities to match the game. So no one was identified as Gloppy
Oh,
or
good.
the gumdrops or yeah, Sir Lord Licorice or whatever it is.
Yeah, for those who are not familiar with Candyland lore, these are characters, and it's a great game I played from my childhood. There's something I just want to encourage and affirm you and acknowledge your work with, and that is like over the years, I've worked at two different churches. One church I was a youth pastor, another church I was a worship leader. Oh, and a third church I was a next gen pastor. All three of these churches took a group of teenagers to your camp for what's called James Project. And for a lot of teenagers, this was the first time they were ever exposed to camp ministry that had a disability bent toward it. And what I've seen from all three churches, and I think it's beautiful, is that I could name a handful of students who graduated and then went on to work in the area of disabilities with adults. And it was something that was not on their radar beforehand. They encounter this type of ministry and it totally changes the trajectory of their life. And I just think that's pretty powerful. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's been a great part of the ministry as we've gone through the last 2.5 decades that I've been here. Ugh, now I feel old.
You're old.
I am. I am. There's been a progression, and I sometimes say that I'm just not the sharpest crayon in the box, and God just puts things right in front of me so that I'll do them. So it seems like it was just this natural progression where our disabilities ministry was growing, and then we saw the value of people being engaged and invested in the ministry at different levels, and so that's how the James Project came about. So it's basically a local, inexpensive missions trip that
Mhm.
uses our camp context of our disability ministry. And so those missions teams get to jump in at I call it the front lines because they're really running the support side of things, surrounding meals and cleaning and being able to jump in here and there with programming. So that really is the front lines because you've got to take care of those things or no one's going to make it. So
Mhm.
they really are serving. They jump in, they have an immediate impact. And then we were seeing that they were becoming culturally aware when it comes to disabilities and disabilities ministry. Walls were coming down. They were building relationships and seeing how Scripture really is true that every single person is made in the image of God, and that our value and worth doesn't come from who we are or what we can do or what we have or who's next to us. Our value and worth comes from God.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And that changes everything because it changes why you would serve and what you do with your time and your energy and your money and how you view relationships. And so these missions opportunities have been huge. We have hundreds of people that serve with us each year, and they were then going on to work in the field, right? Work in the industry of disabilities, or come back here to the camp to work for a summer. That's also been a big part of that same trajectory of things building and adding. We saw many of our staff that were with us for a summer were building resumes. Like all of a sudden they had skill and ability that would lead them to jobs or careers, and not just oh hey, I'm kind of doing this thing, but they understood policies, procedures, paperwork. They understood how to care for people and how to manage behavior, And we were like, oh, we're not just doing camp. We're teaching like an actual skill that people can go out and get jobs with. And so that led us to say, man, this is a platform where we can teach and we can make disciples and we can train up leaders, and not just kind of like, yeah, that's what we do, but a very structured, a very intentional process. And that's
Yeah.
where the lid program came from. We thought, man, if we could add academics to the experience, then we are going to train up leaders like no one else is training them up.
Man, that's amazing. That's why I'm so excited for the LID program because for young adults who are graduating high school that don't want to go to college right away, that are still exploring opportunities in the world, what they want to do, this is a different kind of gap program that is going to develop someone as a leader. It's going to move them into self-awareness by helping them know themselves. They're going to get good Bible teaching and other academics. And on top of that, they're going to get all these skills and abilities that you're talking about. So that's pretty incredible. And I'll put it in the show notes, but can you share if someone's interested in applying for this program, where could they go to apply for this?
Yeah, they can check out our social media handles. They can search
Mm-hmm.
for Arrowhead and Shepherd's Camp, or they can go to at Shepherd's Camp, or the good old Webernet and
WeberNet.
the old Webernet, and check us out at arrowheadsc.org/lid.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, the lid program I guess it kind of was again a progression. So I was teaching adjunct for a few schools, and then we kind of pulled people here in a larger scale as a gap year program where we were teaching freshman level classes.
Mm-hmm.
And we had more young adults coming to us to live and work and serve here at the camp, and they're like, hey, I'm kind of a junior, or I've already done all my freshman level stuff. What can we do? And so our platform allows us to customize and work at several different levels in the undergrad and grad degrees. And then a few years ago, we said, man, we really need to double down on this. And so we started offering full undergrad and grad degrees. And so students could track with us for 2 years, 4 years, 5 years. So they're building this crazy resume of ministry, disabilities, service, primary care, leadership, all while gaining a full college degree.
Man.
And so this fall, yeah, and you've been talking about double down. This fall, we're going to take it to the next level. And so we're going to actually cap things off and only accept 20 students into our program. And we are going to offer the tuition and the fees and textbooks and room and board
What?
and trips all at no cost to the student.
Dude, that's
It's crazy.
insane.
Yeah. Well, and it's worth it, right? Like they're worth it because they're engaging in the experience, the ministry, the education at a level that most people don't, because it's all in 100%. What we're doing is no joke, and it takes their whole heart and their whole
Wow.
service. And so we want to be able to honor what they're doing in the ministry here, serving as direct support professionals and engaging in full academics. So that's why we are offering it at no cost. It's fully scholarshiped. And then on top of that, we understand that, because camp is all of life all the time, they are 100% invested. It's not like they got a side gig or a side hustle. They're
Mm-hmm.
not putting in 20 hours at a part-time job. So we also provide a weekly stipend for their living
Oh my
expenses.
goodness.
They can serve, they can grow, they get a full degree, and they're in ministry full time, and they're not only going to get out debt free, but they'll have money in their pockets so that they can
Man, oh
keep
man.
moving in life. Yeah.
It doesn't sound real, to be honest. It sounds like, okay, come to this gap year program. You don't have to pay for it. You'll get college credits, you'll get room and board, and we're gonna pay for your trips that you take. And I know you guys take some pretty cool trips, and we're gonna give you a stipend every week.
Yeah,
It
like I
doesn't
said,
sound real.
we're the next level. We think it really is going to be a revolutionary way to do ministry,
Mm,
where we are investing in young adults for them to be Christ-centered and career ready, and not getting to that point and then having to choose between a high impact ministry and a high paying job to get themselves out
Mm,
of debt so they can do what God's called them to do.
yeah, that is so wise. I love hearing that. Well, let's shift gears a little bit. Talk about leadership. Has there been a significant way that you've grown in your leadership, maybe over the past few years or even just several months?
Yeah, I'd like to say I was great at it all the time. I don't even know if I still am. And I feel like every time I think or talk about leadership, it's these glaring gaps I have where it's like, man, I got to be better at this. Man, I gotta serve more. Man, I know I have the my tendencies, they're my weaknesses, which tend to be right in paradoxical alignment with my strengths, right? So
Okay.
so recently, God has shown me, man, I'm selfish. Like
Mm,
I want to lead for me. I want to lead in ways that are easy. I want to lead in the ways I want to, and which takes me away from. And this is a term. This is one of my favorite terms. I may even have come up with this term. I don't know. That's probably why I like it so much.
yeah.
But this idea of leader servanthood, and that would be the juxtaposition to servant lead or servant leadership. Because if you're called to be a leader, you're supposed to lead. Like you got to get up and lead. It's something you're passionate about, something you're excited about. But of course, leaders, the whole reason you're the leader is so you can serve people, right? So
Yeah.
that you can put them in places and opportunities to grow, to succeed. Your goal is to get rid of obstacles. Your goal is to celebrate them. Uh, the credit never goes to you because it's about you serving them for them to succeed. And that, like I said, that's lined up with what God's showing me and convicting me of, which is, man, I got to serve people and stop serving myself.
Yeah.
I got to be the kind of leader that they can count on, that they are they can trust, and the kind of leader that they're like, which way are we going, and how fast do you want to get there?
Yeah. And underneath our leadership is this current of core beliefs. And I already heard you mention what I know to be one of your core beliefs, and that is you've mentioned it already. Everyone is an image bearer of God. Our worth and our value come from being made in the image of God, not our accomplishments, not our skills, not our abilities, and our earning, but our worth and value come from being made in the image of God. Are there one or two other core beliefs that are the undercurrent of your leadership that really push you forward and doing all the things that you're doing?
Yeah, I'd say two others. One is the fact that we can't help this. It's in our eternal DNA, and that is that we are worshipers. That's just
We
nobody
all
can get away
worship
from that.
something.
You can't turn that off. Yeah,
Yeah.
uh, I'll often quiz people just to get the wrong answers, and the I've heard it said that the opposite of Christianity is not atheism, it's idolatry, right?
Oh,
Because if you are not following God, if you are not worshiping God, you're worshiping something or someone else, right? There's
yeah.
no other choice, and you can see it. You can see it in how people spend their money or their time, who they're sitting close to, what brand they're wearing. Uh,
Hmm.
we will, the book of Romans, chapter 11, 12. We will sacrifice to, we will do and not do certain things, and we will dedicate ourselves to the thing or the person, whether it's good or bad, in worship. And
Yeah.
that is our worship, right? We put that thing in the place of glory in our lives. And God says, you can do that, but it'll fall short. You can do that, but that person or that thing will not save you. And
Hmm.
so the best way to do life, to work out of our value and our worth, to have real meaning and purpose and joy, no matter the circumstances, is to put God in the place of glory in our lives, to sacrifice to Him with what we do and don't do, and then dedicate ourselves to Him, which does include how He's wired and designed us, our purpose, and what He calls us to do as He leads us.
Yeah, that's super convicting the way you framed it, that the opposite of Christianity is not atheism, it's
Yeah, idolatry.
idolatry. And when you think about, hey, let's look at my bank account, let's look at my calendar, let's look at, where I'm spending money, where I'm spending my time, and then you mentioned also who are you sitting next to, that reveals where what you're sacrificing or what you're investing in. And I'm just thinking out loud to myself, like, wow, if I looked at those three things, would it show that I'm a follower of Jesus? Or
Yeah.
am I selfish?
Yep. Yeah.
Man. Well, that's uncomfortable, so let's change gears. Let's talk about something else. You didn't, I think your journey, it started with having a summer job during college, but over time, I'm sure that you've gotten more and more clear and solidified in your purpose. And you have really locked into Shepherd's Camp and Arrowhead. And could you just share a little bit about what that process was like for you to know that this is where you should be, and also who were the other people involved that either mentored you or helped you discern these next steps into your purpose?
Yeah, again, the I don't know if I'm the sharpest crayon in the box. So it seemed like God put everything right in front of me.
Hmm,
My goal was to be obedient.
I
Uh,
love that.
but but I did see forks in the road as I was going. I was constantly working jobs through high school. I was involved at church. I thought maybe getting into the medical field would be fun. I mean, I liked science and anatomy and physiology, and so a mentor of mine, who was a guy who discipled me, came alongside me as a guy in high school who, man, I was ready to go. He just had to point me in the right direction, and he really became a my discipler, right? And was like,
Mm,
this is what I've learned about God. This is what I'm learning. I'd love to share with you everything I've learned, and we can learn more together. So we just spent a ton of time together, and I said, hey, I don't know what to do.
hmm,
Should I do this ministry thing? Should I go into medicine? And he said, you should pray. I was like, well, that's not an
wow.
answer. That's not an answer. I
Yeah.
have either or. He said, no, like plaster notes everywhere, medicine or ministry, and start praying. And that was a big part of high school. And but I also explored then, right? So I was experimenting, right? I took a veterinarian course. I took as many science and AP courses as I could. I was also involved in our student ministry at the church, and anytime I could have responsibility or an opportunity to speak or be involved with ministry, I was doing that, right? So I was just pushing the envelope on all of it and basically making everything I was doing a laboratory and experimenting all over the place.
Yes. Yeah.
And there again, God put things right in front of me. I thought camp would look good on a resume. It would be good experience. I knew about the ministry, and so it was a place I knew I would want to be involved in.
Hmm.
And when I got here, I could do
This is
this.
where it should be.
Yeah, like and all the things I had been doing up until that point, different jobs and ministry experience, I found it all here. It was like it was culminating. And
Wow.
then yeah, although I was young and I knew nothing, had a lot of growing to do. Yeah, and so even when I got here, mentors and disciplers who were teaching me how to lead, who were giving me opportunities before I had the knowledge, and they kind of backed me up on it, right?
Hmm.
They were also walking me through the mistakes I was making, and so, I remember lots of conversations where it was, "Hey, how'd that go?" Not so good. Oh, you gonna do that again? Nope. And just, where they could have said,
Oh.
hey, young guy who dropped out of college to be here, why don't you go back to college and we'll, be warm to be filled. Thanks for a good summer or two.
Mm.
But
Well,
they allowed me to serve and lead and grow and continue my education, so that I can continue to serve full time at camp.
nice. That's one thing I love about college. I know that college is not for everybody, but one of the things that I do love about it is that it offers what I call WOO, a world of opportunities that you can try out different things. And a lot of people beat up the idea of general education, gen eds. Oh, I have to take all these dumb gen eds. Well, sometimes you'll take a gen ed that will change the trajectory of your life. And a lot of people go to college undeclared. They don't know what they want to do, but they sign up for this club or they sign up for this class. And all of a sudden, they're going to pursue a career they didn't even know was an option before. And so that's something I really love about finding purpose is that go try stuff, go find a class to take, go experience new things because it might change the trajectory of your life. Now, when it comes to mentors and disciplers, did you pursue them or did they pursue you?
They chased me down.
Okay.
Probably because I showed up all the time. I was around, I was available, and was excited for whatever God had. I was also asking a lot of questions, and so, but it was both formal and informal.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the one guy I mentioned, he literally said to me, "Hey, God has been showing me a ton, and I've learned a bunch, and I'm learning more. Can I tell you everything I've learned, and can we learn more together?" I was like,
Hmm.
"Absolutely." Right? He's like, "Cool." He's like, "Why don't you start by reading this book?" I didn't know I liked reading books. I was just in school at the time, right? You had to do things. Man, I went home and I read like the whole book that night. I was
Wow.
so excited, and I showed up the next week as if that was the coolest part of my existence, right? And he was like, "Oh, cool, you read that first chapter?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go." And so it was, yeah, it was a great relationship where it was formal and there was structure to it, but at the same time, we got to hang out and we spent time together. And I would, it's student ministry, so go visit students at their sporting events or clubs or things like that. And so I got to tag along with those. And I remember probably 6 months later. He looks at me and he says, "Okay." He goes, "It's your turn." I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You're going to do the same thing I did." He goes, "Start to pray, ask God to show you some students in the ministry that you can go up
Wow.
to and say, 'Hey, God's been teaching me a lot and I'm still learning a lot. Can I can I share with you what he's taught me and can we learn together?'"
That's awesome.
I know, and I did, and it was, yeah. So, and there again, I got here to camp, and it was like, oh, I gotta like make disciples. How do we do that? Like, it was probably more nerves than anything. It's like, oh, I know how to do this. God's showing me how to do this. Oh wait, I'm a product of this whole thing,
Yeah.
and so that's what we began to do here.
Yeah, so for a lot of like maybe young people who are listening, what I heard from you is that you kept showing up and you kept asking questions. And when someone gave you an assignment or a project, read this chapter, read this book, you did it. And I think there's a lot of value in just showing up and putting in work and asking questions. And that oftentimes leads to a relationship where someone will invest in you. Because I don't think it's the norm that there's leaders out there looking for people to invest in. I think often they need prompted by someone who asks. And so I really love that. I love hearing that you kept showing up, asking questions, putting yourself around other leaders and just not going away. And then you got that reciprocated with their investment. So that's beautiful.
Yeah, and for any young people listening, it discipleship mentoring is really about needs, right? What do you need? And obviously, Jesus as our as our ultimate example of how to make disciples, he was meeting needs. He met practical needs, he
Hmm.
met spiritual needs, he met mental, emotional needs. Obviously, the biggest need he met was for a savior, for
Yeah.
someone who could
Right.
rescue us, right? That was the need
Hmm.
that only he could meet. And so for us as his disciples and as disciple makers, or those being discipled, you can think about needs, right? Do you need to learn how to follow Jesus? What does it mean to be a Christian? What does it mean to walk with him every day? How do you pray and how do you read scripture? And all the way down to, I need to learn how to cook for myself. I need to learn how to change the oil in my car. I need to learn how to have a conversation that's a difficult one, or there's conflict, or I need to learn how to work hard, or what is the need, and are there people in your life that can meet that need? And you just walk up to them like, "Hey, looks like you're doing this right. Can you show me how?"
Yeah. I love thinking back to when I first moved out on my own. When you mentioned you gotta learn how to cook for yourself. I remember for dinner, if I didn't have, I would just crack open a can of tuna fish, get some mustard and put a little mustard in there, mix it up, and then eat it with some wheat thins. So it's like I got to make a change here. But yeah, speaking of needs, though, the question I want to ask is there a problem you're passionate about solving?
Yeah, for me, I'm a very kind of tactical, practical guy. I love to get things done. So for me, as I look at the young adults we serve and the platform we have for learning and growth, I want all the pieces to fit and come together. I want those young adults not to just think about someday serving God, think about someday getting it, someday having enough knowledge or content
Mm,
to go out and do something. I want them to have that experience now. I want them to be able to grow now. And in some ways, you need a safe place to fail, but you also need a structure, a trajectory, and an opportunity to succeed, right? To grow. So for me, uh, it's that combination of knowledge and skill, right?
mm,
It's the ingesting of the content, but also the, oh, I'm going to turn around and go use it right now.
yeah,
And then I have somebody walking with me that can help me understand, is it working well? Is it not working well? How do you do this? How would you say that differently or do that in a different way? So I think that it's that problem of the disconnection of what we're learning and what we're doing, right? The resume that's being built, but also the knowledge that's being gained and being able to bring those together.
nice. That's great. And when it comes to leadership, I love the two themes of life, LYF, lead yourself first, and lit, LYT, lead your team. The some earlier episodes from this podcast talk about those things. So these are questions I like to ask leaders. So could you share with us a little bit about how you lead yourself first, and then also what are some ways that you lead your team? We'll explore that a little bit.
Yeah, for me, it's a big one is ingesting content. For me to lead myself, uh, I'm not necessarily looking for the next big thing. I try not to be that leader who goes to a conference and comes home and everybody thinks, oh, what's going to be the cool thing for the next 3 weeks that we're going to have to
Mm,
line up with.
mm-hmm.
Uh, although I do get that way because well, the way God's wired and designed me, I get super excited about things. I have a ton of ideas and I just want to tell everybody and get everybody excited too. I do try to ingest as much content as possible, and that is time in scripture, time with podcasts, time with books. It's hearing from people and talking to people, whether they're close by in proximity, and I can have a conversation, or it is something online, and that's because man, I need to hear these things again and again and again.
Yeah.
Those things that are important, they need to pop up in my life almost on a daily basis. I suppose that's par for the course because scripture should be something that we eat, sleep, and breathe, right?
The daily bread.
Yep. And
Yeah.
yeah, your daily good news.
Yeah, I
And
love one of my core values is being a lifelong learner, and I really hear that in and when you're talking about trying to ingest content and constantly be learning, challenging your mindset, challenging your beliefs, and growing in knowledge, growing in wisdom. So that's a really great way to lead yourself first.
yeah, another one is, and I really don't like this one, because I wish I could just go through my day and be super spontaneous and have great ideas and check things off the list, but get distracted and then come back. But pre-deciding, that's actually something that is a part of Craig Groeschel's book, Think Ahead. This idea
Okay.
of pre-deciding, because if we don't pre-decide what we're going to do or
Hmm.
what we would do in a situation, who knows what's going to happen when we get there. And so you pre-decide how you're going to treat people, when you're going to make decisions, what you're going to do with your day and your schedule. And that all allows you not only to succeed, but let's say in the face of temptation, you know what you're going to do. There's no question of, oh, will I follow God or will I sin? Or you already know when this happens, this is how I respond.
Hmm. It seems like in order for that leadership tool to be effective, you have to think through a lot of scenarios that come up. And I'm just wondering, can you give a maybe a recent or practical example of how pre-deciding has leveled you up as a leader?
So it could be something as simple as pre-deciding when I meet somebody new, I'm having a conversation with them. My goal is to share the gospel,
Oh,
or
okay.
my goal is to ask them if they're connected to a church,
Hmm.
or what's been their biggest challenge. Because we can things can be so transactional, right? Where I got to get something out of this person, even if it's just your local handyman that you called to come fix something, right? uh, so pre-deciding that when I meet new people or I'm engaging with somebody, that I have a conversation that I can care for them and share the gospel.
No, I love that.
Yeah.
Any other ways that you lead yourself or lead your team you want to highlight?
So for the team, man, the big one there, and I'm constantly learning this, constantly working on this one, is being available and being able to serve them. Because again, the whole leader servanthood, right? To be able to lead them, meaning serve them in ways that they're going to receive, right? Not the way
Mm.
I like to have things done, or not the way that that I would like to be communicated to or with, um, or the things that I prefer, right? So understanding my team, how God's wired and designed them, and then being able to serve them well, to communicate well, and not just see it from my own perspective.
Yeah, because what I know about you, Ben, is that you are pretty straightforward. You probably would appreciate people just being blunt with you and just tell you what needs done. And in your personality, I know that you're a workhorse. I would say you're a Clydesdale, you're a bulldozer, but not everyone's built like that. And so, as a leader, what I'm hearing you say is that you're trying to learn your team and how they receive criticism or feedback or correction, and how you can lead them without leading them the way that they need to be led, that they're going to receive it and grow, and not the way that you would want to receive it. Is that
Yeah,
accurate?
absolutely. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it means that I'm going to communicate well. I'm also going to listen well. It also means I'm going to not forget to celebrate when we're winning, right?
Mm,
Succeeding when we're moving at the speed of obedience. Because yeah, I'm that bulldozer. I get up every day. I expect I'm going to win. God's in control and God is good. So why wouldn't it be the best day ever?
mm.
And I'm just going to keep moving. And I really do like to get things done. So I can't just make everybody line up with me. I need to be able to communicate well and listen. I need to be able to celebrate, not because I'll just go through my day getting things done in my own head, going ha ha ha. Look at what we're doing, God. Let's go.
Yeah.
And so
So the way that
it
you
changes.
celebrate is just this really split second. I did it, I accomplished it, now I'm going to go on to the next thing.
Yeah.
But your team is like, hey, let's pause. Let's get together. Let's celebrate. You got to create that environment where you stop working to celebrate.
Yep.
So that's probably got to be a little frustrating for your personality, but when you see it give life to your team, it makes it worth it.
Yeah. It does. And if God wasn't calling me to be a leader, then I would go do something else. And it would likely be
Mm,
if I wanted to be selfish or just do my thing, then I would go find a job or a ministry where I could pretty much do my own thing by myself. You talk about purpose and passion and leadership, and this is something that grew, right? When I got here, I wasn't passionate about being a leader. I wasn't passionate about
hmm.
disability ministry. I wasn't passionate about camping ministry. That was something that grew. I was passionate about serving God, about impacting lives and making disciples, and I was going to do that anywhere in any way God put in front of me to do.
Hmm.
But so a lot of times we think we have to know what our passion is before we go and do it. But it's typically something that grows,
Yeah.
right? And that's why that the experimenting and the trying new things and asking lots of questions is important, because part of how we figure out how God's designed us, wired us, and what He has for us in our work, in our life, in our family, in our church, is things that grow and that you
Yeah.
take the passion for.
Yeah, something I'll probably talk about on another episode. I'll just give it a full attention is this idea of passion and how it grows and how it exists on a scale. Because the literal definition for passion, which we get our English word passion from the Latin word passionem, it means to endure suffering. And not many people know what they're willing to endure suffering for until they get into a situation or they have God prompt a desire in their heart. You didn't know that you were willing to suffer for a ministry focused on disabilities until you got in it and it grew over time. So I just love that idea of passion growing along with someone committing to and being convicted of what they're willing to suffer for. And so the most passionate people that you know are people who have suffered and sacrificed for something they really care about. And I really see that in your life, how you've grown in passion. I mean, you've been at Arrowhead how many decades?
Yeah, how many? Oh, what a great way to say it. I suppose two and a half is what we'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Well,
it's fun because that suffering isn't this masochistic, man, all I do every day is suffer. Like there's
right.
immense amount of joy.
Sure.
There's huge successes and God's changing lives. What happens is doesn't matter what the circumstances are. You
Hmm.
still find that joy, that purpose, that meaning. And then that really that suffering is a choice between doing what God's called you which usually involves other people, or just being selfish, right?
Yeah. I'm thinking about Hebrews 12:2, and where it says, "For the joy set before him, Jesus endured the cross." So even in the face of immense suffering and torture and crucifixion, Jesus still knew the joy that of the need he was meeting, of being able to offer forgiveness and offer reconciliation and relationship with him. And so yeah, I just think there's a lot of beauty in passion, that it's not all suffering all the time, but there's a lot of joy and in meeting those needs that often require sacrifice and dying to self and getting rid of selfishness. So that's beautiful. Last question. I believe a lot of leaders, their main job is to create culture. And I just love the culture you've created up there at Arrowhead. And so are there leadership tools or favorite books or other ways that you've really cultivated culture to lead your team and for them to show up and be connected? And I think I love this idea of a shared consciousness of people
Yeah.
know what each other are thinking and
Yeah.
that they're all be able to move forward together with the same momentum, the same energy, and moving toward the same vision. So yeah, leadership tools, books, ways that you create culture as a leader.
Yeah. Creating culture is 100% how, the communication, right? That you're saying it again and again and again. And that's your mission, vision, values, right? That you're constantly communicating it, that everybody's hearing it and they start to repeat it back to you, right? And so the having everybody on the same page, having everybody with the same verbiage or vernacular, right? That's super important. So for us, we call that our Arrowhead playbook. And
Oh
it's
yeah, a playbook.
yeah, so I mean, let's go with sports. If if the team runs on the field and they're trying to go down the field and score a goal, everybody that's on the field needs to know what the play is and what they're
Mm,
going to do, right? And they're all out there talking and they use the same verbiage, the same language, and then their goal is to execute and move down the field. So for us, our playbook has that same feel, right? We want everybody to know what the language is. We want them to know what the right play is in what situation, and the whole goal is so that we can make our way down the field and win, right? And so our
nice.
our playbook is it's podcasts, it's books, it's content that we've kind of gathered either by itself or kind of pulled together with multiple things. So for us, I mentioned this before, Craig Groeschel and his book Think Ahead. That's
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. Ben Stewart is a pastor down in DC. He has a phenomenal book called Single, Dating, Engaged, Married.
Hmm.
This will change a young person's life.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's high praise.
it'll give them freedom to follow God wholeheartedly and know how to do singleness, dating, engagement, and marriage well.
Nice.
I'm a fan of Dave Ramsey and their Financial Peace University.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people get mixed reviews, but even if he's half right, being out of debt and having some money in your pocket, pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my friends wrote a book. She's like a theological dynamo, and Stephanie Hubach, and her book, Same Lake, Different Boat,
Hmm.
speaks into the biblical worldview of disabilities. And it
Oh,
goes back to
wow.
the whole idea of, being made in the image of God. And it's not just a kind of a theory book. It's super practical and it impacts your day to day. We're big fans of The Working Genius from Patrick Lencioni.
I've
That
seen that chart on your wall there in the
yeah,
office,
yeah, that's a
getting
game
everyone
changer.
listed on their in their working genius area.
Yeah, that's been a big team building resource that's even been life changing for me. Yeah.
And if people have questions about that, I know they have a podcast dedicated just to Working Genius, correct?
They do, yeah, and it's
Yeah.
super easy to digest. It's less than 20 minutes, and if you like nerding out about how God's wired and designed you and other people around you, that's a good one. This one followed me from high school. It's a book called Connecting, and that's from Stanley and Clinton. That's this whole idea of discipleship and mentoring and meeting of needs, right? And it shows you a continuum so that you don't fall over with the weight of having to make disciples of everybody or mentor everybody, but actually how you can lead and mentor and do that well in ways that God's wired and designed you.
Actually, I would say that was one of the first books I read on mentoring, and it really gave me a framework. I think that's the book that talks about the seven different mentoring roles.
Yep.
And it'd be cool to do an episode just on that book. But yeah, it's an older one. But yeah, Bobby Clinton. I don't know much about Paul Stanley, but I've been a real big fan of Bobby Clinton in his writing. So that's definitely one I would recommend as well.
Right on. Two, man, I could keep going and going and going, but two more. One is Extreme Ownership by
Ah,
Jocko.
Jocko, yeah.
Yeah,
A
Leif
little
Babin.
Navy
Yeah.
SEAL guy.
Yeah, Navy SEAL. So it's fantastic content, and one of the things we like to do around the office here is use our best Jocko Willenick voice
Okay.
when we're
How's that
talking to
sound?
each other. Yeah, well, I can now.
You don't want to do it?
No, that's
Uh,
that's in-house. And then the Great Commission Bible Institute, Randy Smith has a series of videos that are just an intro to each book of the Bible
oh,
called 1 Hour, One Book. Man, one of the funnest things to do for us is we'll go outside, take a walk, and have that playing. So we'll get some exercise in,
oh,
and so because we'll just ingest as many of those as we can, and several times because it's a wonderful window into scripture and each book of the Bible and how those things are fitting together.
nice. So I'm assuming there's what, 66 books of the Bible?
Yep.
Did I get that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Am I a professional Christian if I know that?
Yeah. They combo a few of those, so there's not 66 videos, but there's a
Oh,
lot
okay,
and they're
cool.
good. Yeah.
Man, well, this makes me want to create a playbook. I think that's a beautiful picture of leading your team well is collecting a bunch of different resources and putting it together to have a playbook, creating that shared consciousness, that shared language, and we all know how we're going to work together to move forward. So that's really beautiful. I want to copy that in my leadership. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we're wrapping up here, I know you mentioned this at the beginning, but the best way for people to find you, you mentioned, is on social media to go at Shepherd's Camp or what'd you call it, the Webernet, the
Right.
www Arrowhead SC, as in shepherdscamp.org. And what about you? Do you have any personal social media that you use, or do you just go to the
Just camp. Yeah.
camp? Cool, cool.
I'm just not that cool.
You are cool. You're cool to me.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I,
thanks
and
so.
I appreciate our friendship and the time that we've spent doing ministry together, that we've been here at the camp together, and even stray things like going to weddings. I was just in attendance, but I got to tag along as you were either emceeing, DJing, or whatever it might be. So
Yes, one of
a
my
little bit of everything.
alter egos is wedding DJing. So that's something that's I don't advertise, but
Oops.
it is known. It
Yeah.
is word of mouth referred. So yeah, it's been I was just going to say thanks so much for spending time and again for your friendship as well, being able to be connected in this journey of ministry and leadership and growing in our faith. And I think the last time I was up visiting you, just really had a beautiful time sitting in front of a fireplace, just talking about life and faith and what we're learning. And so I'm just grateful that you're a lifelong learner. Grateful for you showing up as a good leader for your team and the difference that you're making with Shepherd's Camp. And it's a beautiful ministry, and it's located right on the border of Pennsylvania and New York, a little place called Brackney, PA. And so I just want to encourage everyone to check out Arrowhead and Shepherd's Camp. And yeah, if you're a young adult looking for a gap year program, like Ben said, they're going to pay you to be there, and you're going to get college credits. And you're revolutionizing ministry and gap year programs. That's a really beautiful thing.
Cool. Yeah, we're excited. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks to everyone for listening and tuning in today. Grateful to have these conversations about faith, purpose, and leadership. So until next time, God bless you all. Thanks again.